How about now?
Perfect.
All right. So I just wanted to start off just reading the mission and values of the Park District to be the primary recreation provider of choice for Fair Oaks community and to enrich lives through exceptional parks and recreation opportunities that strengthen our community. This is the Fair Oaks Bike Park 2021 expansion proposal. I just want to go over a quick review of what we've seen in the last year since we put in the pump track. We've really seen a lot of fun for the whole family. So anywhere from, young kids, parents, and grandparents out there riding. Young kids, young at heart. Beginner to advanced. And we've been maintaining it consistently every month. We've been doing volunteer days. We brought in a lot of kids to help out because they don't charge you very much. It's been a good experience working with everyone, meeting lots of people, and building community. We've had a lot of people turn out to these, so it's been fun. Made a lot of friends. We've learned a lot of things along the way. The biggest thing is when it was built, it was in the middle of summer, it was very dry. So once it started to rain, it was really nice that the dirt kind of set in. So it's, I think with anything, we kind of learned how to do it right as far as maintaining it in water and dirt mixture. The drainage worked out really well. As you can see in these pictures, the water kind of drained off of the track onto the sides. So it was nice, and it's holding up well. The weeds are kind of growing in along the sides to help strengthen the sides. So all in all, it's going really well. I just pulled this off of our Facebook page. I just want to show you all the people that have been using it or liking the page. You can see the demographics here, 25 to 34 in 9% and 35 to 44. And this might just be about the people that are on Facebook that use Facebook that like the page, but it's split 50-50 male and female. So I just kind of found that was an interesting one to share that with who's been using the pump track or at least liking it on Facebook. But up to almost 1,000 likes or follows. So next steps, I know last year when we presented the pump track, it was we wanted to do kind of a low cost trial to kind of see how the community responded to it. And it was always proposed as not a final solution, but just a first step to seeing, how many people from the bike community showed up and wanted to ride it. And I think, from what we've seen, it's been an amazing turnout. It's been very successful. Lots of people from all over our region, not just Fair Oaks, but we have people coming in. If you saw that slide, Roseville, and they're all working on their own bike parks as well. So it's been a regional asset to Fair Oaks and the community. So the 2021 expansion concept design, we had this kind of, and this is just a concept, so it all kind of can change depending on the needs and what we decide to do in the future. It consists of mainly 4 areas. So the flow and jump lines, the skills trail, and the asphalt pump track, and then the pavilion. So I'll jump into the skills trail, and this is something that's really important to me as a father, taking their kids out. These are my kids in the picture, going out on the trails, mountain biking in the middle of nowhere, and they have meltdowns, and it's rough. But if we could do that in a park setting where they could take a break and go grab a snack from the snack center or go to the bathroom, I mean, being able to practice these mountain biking skills in our park would be phenomenal. So we'd throw in different features or obstacles that you would kind of see out in the wild. There's, like you see in this picture, a rock garden, skinny logs to kind of help their balance, and small drops, small jumps. We're not trying to do anything big. It's just little skill building obstacles along the way. So because Fair Oaks or the Phoenix Park is relatively flat, we would bring in dirt to kind of build up the features so that they would have that momentum to carry them through it as they pedaled up. And I shared this video coming up on the next slide with you last year, but just wanted to share it again. to other people in the meeting that might not have seen it. But this is a video from Bentonville, Arkansas. And I was talking just before this meeting with our state senator representative about Bentonville. A lot of people haven't heard of it, but it's the self-proclaimed, and they do a pretty good job of becoming the mountain bike capital of the United States. They've put a lot of effort into building up mountain biking, and that's resulted in becoming the nation's fifth largest growing city in 2019. Where in California, everyone's leaving. So we're really trying to bring back people to California, and we can do that by making fun things for them to do. And mountain biking is huge, and biking in general, not even mountain biking. So the jump area, if you've seen people, and I've been posting a lot of videos of some of these kids that come out, and they're phenomenal riders, and they come out to the pump track and they will do jumps on the pump track. It's kind of like the pinnacle of what you can do on a bike. If you can start doing the jumps, that's the top of what you can do on bikes. So that's what people want to do. But we can do it in a way where there's lower maintenance. The picture that you see there is from San Diego. They just put in the Sweetwater Bike Park last year. And the county of San Diego has declared that as their most popular feature in all of their county parks. They think it's phenomenal. And so they just built another one a month ago. So San Diego is all on board with building bike parks. And so the flow and jump area, we would keep it as, if you see in the, I'll go back to the map of it, but we'd have beginner jumps, intermediate jumps, and maybe some advanced jumps, depending on how we wanted to go with that. But we would have it reinforced with some of these wood features to help with maintenance and whatnot. So the pump track, I wanted to kind of touch on this real quick because I know last year we petitioned against having an asphalt pump track. So now I'm coming to you and saying, hey, let's build an asphalt pump track. So I wanted to touch on that. We didn't, last year, we wanted to have the dirt pump track for younger kids. And we just felt that in the area that it was, we didn't want to lose that area. But if we can have it expanded and have, continue to have the dirt pump track where it is now for the younger kids, then it gives the kids that might be more experienced another place to go. So it helps because we've seen so much congestion in the pump track. We can help expand that out. So the pump track that you see in this design, it's a mirror image. So what we can start doing is having competitions. They even have, the world pump track competitions that you'll see as an event. So it'll be weekly events that we can do. Just like you see, and I'll go into this in a little bit, but the BMX group every week, they have two races. And I really think that we can start doing that there at the pump track. We can have organized events just like any sport with races and, partner with either, Family FreeRide would be happy to step up and start organizing those events and help generate income for the park district as far as rentals go for that facility. So who's the bike park for? This is a picture of the cycling development team. It's only half of it. I can fit the other half on there. But these are the high school mountain bike teams that we see around. And they're expanding to middle school, I believe, next year. So it's just been a huge turnout of kids. So they would have a place to ride. We would have events. This just happened last week. So the community of people that ride bikes is huge. This was Dirt Days last year, organized by a new organization, Mountain Bike NorCal, who has just been phenomenal in organizing and building the community. So it was a huge event, and we would love to see some of these events down here instead of up in the mountains in Nevada City. Why not in Fair Oaks? So a lot of opportunity for having these events. Races, I believe Clint Klassen had emailed in a public comment to the board members about his experience running a business doing mountain bike races. And so he's another opportunity that we could have come and host races in Fair Oaks. This is a kids race that Clifton Races did at Prairie City. So lots of opportunity for kids to come out and ride and race at the Fair Oaks Bike Park. This is a women's group that teaches mountain biking. So There's a lot of opportunities for women's groups to come and train on the perimeter trail and all over. Trisha, she came to our Kids Bike Festival in 2019 with Family FreeRide. She organizes kids riding programs, so she could benefit a lot from having a skills trail and other opportunities in a bike park to work with her students on. So yeah, this is from last week at Dirt Days. So lots of happy kids. So the other, as I've learned in the last year, the BMX community is huge. If you go out to Oak Creek, and hopefully they're going to maybe make a public comment after this presentation, but it's enormous, the amount of people that come out to Oak Creek 2 days a week for the races. We would love to incorporate them, and they've been coming out to our pump track. And we could definitely see them coming to an expanded bike park on a weekly basis at those events. So this is something that I saw a couple months ago, a young lady in a wheelchair playing with her friends on the playground at Phoenix Park, and she was having a blast. But I just thought, how cool would it be if she could be out riding on the trail with her friends instead of on the playground? So it would be, we could make that perimeter trail adaptive friendly. And there's also, you know, some extreme people in wheelchairs that will do the skate parks. And so it's possible that they could even go through the asphalt pump track. So the big question is budget. What does it cost? And it's tough to say because it's not like a baseball field where it's set dimensions and you kind of have a history of what those have cost. So it can fluctuate a lot. The nice thing about what we have in the concept design is we can do it in stages. I know there's question about whether or not the large dirt area is available now, and we can start working on a perimeter skills loop until we find out if that area is available or not. So these are rough estimates. 1.2 million overall, 600,000. That's if we do the asphalt pump track, and in those range, the one in Temecula is about 400,000. And they go up to $1 million for the one that they did in Bentonville that we'll see in the next picture. But this is where we can hold the pump track world championships. Could be in Fair Oaks. Skills loop, and again, rough estimate. It kind of depends on what we want to do with the features as we kind of look into this. The pavilion, I know that we're at Miller Park. We're looking to spend a pretty equal amount to put in a pavilion there, but this is where we could start hosting those events. We could have a place for the food trucks to park. Lots of shade because it gets hot, and you know, a place for people to gather as a community of cyclists that want to watch these events and hang out with their kids. Jump and flow trail. Again, it all depends on how many of the features we want to put in there. So this is, again, in Bentonville, Arkansas, this picture that you see in the background. Just wanted to touch on that it's, you know, there's a lot of flexibility that'll go into expanding the bike park. And if there's funding shortfalls or maintenance shortfalls, we can adapt the plan. Instead of doing, you know, the asphalt pump track and the jump line, if we have questions on maintaining, you know, a dirt jump area, it's possible that we could just have a giant asphalt pump track, and it would require very little maintenance. So that's always a possibility. Funding, that's always a good question. So where do we get the money from? And there are, if you see this picture of Stafford Lake, it's just north of North Bay area, and you know, $100,000 donations from Fox, who was a big bike component manufacturer, and the Haas Family Fund. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that want to support this and put their money where their mouth is. So there's a lot of potential for that, and I've applied for a couple grants. You see the Santa Cruz Pay Dirt and Specialized grants. They won't grant them though unless we have a place that's been approved for the bike park. So that would help out a lot if we can kind of move forward with approving this. Then we can start reaching out for those grants, and very likely we'll get them. The bottom left picture you see there is an old parking meter, and so they put one of those in down in San Diego. And the nice thing about it is it's a credit card. You can swipe your credit card, come into the bike park, make a donation. The picture that you see with the rock, that was up at Truckee Bike Park. They've had a lot of support from the community for building their bike park. It's been phenomenal. The picture right above that, it's a great little donation station, and they see a lot of revenue from that. The other picture, the advanced IPM, just in what, 1 month after our pump track was put in, we raised $8,000 from corporate donations and just private citizens that were throwing in 20 bucks here, 50 bucks there. And that was just after the pump track. We raised an additional $2,000 in the following year. So a lot of community support for this project. And I imagine we would see a lot more if we did expand it. Maintenance is the big question. You know, how do we maintain it? So last year, when we presented to the board to do the pump track, Family FreeRide agreed that we would maintain it. So for the last year, we've been doing that, monthly maintenance days. We've since partnered with Fat Track. They've been big supporters of ours, and they've been helping step up and are willing to do so if need be in the future to take a more active role. Family FreeRide's, you know, granted, we're a young organization. We've been around for 2 years. Fat Track's been around for 30. So a large organization. They're leading the charge now to make mountain biking better for our entire community. So they've been huge supporters of ours. They were there last year when we gave the presentation. They had representatives. The president, I think, even spoke as well. And I think he's probably in the audience. So yeah, a phenomenal organization. But we totally willing to do contributions as well to pay for a paid maintenance staff, anywhere from $12,000 to $50,000 a year, depending on what we want to do. The way that Folsom Bike Park did it, they had a paid staff person that also helped do clinics and organize events. So hopefully if we want to throw down a large amount of money, we can have that person take over some of those responsibilities like Folsom did as well with the maintenance. So risk is another big question. And that picture of the x-ray is me, my broken collarbone from the Elk Grove Bike Park. So it's one of those things, risk. You ride a bike and you're just bound to crash. So accidents happen, and especially when you start doing jumps. And I kind of think of the analogy of having a trampoline in the backyard. Parents, like my wife asked the pediatrician about trampolines. They're dangerous. And the pediatrician said, I can't really recommend them as a pediatrician, but as a mom, I have one. So, but I understand that the district would be taking on some risk. There are protections, though. California Government Code 831-7 provides a lot of immunity to government organizations for hazardous activities, and mountain biking and definitely riding jumps is considered one of those. So next steps, what we're looking to do, I mean, you can see this is a picture of a development, concept development that was, it's the Mormon church that you see in the top left. So all the Aerojet Rocketdyne properties that are looking to get developed. And, you know, it's really easy to throw in baseball fields, and that's just what we've done for 100 years. But I think times are changing. You know, we're seeing mountain biking is a new activity, but it's growing so fast. You go ride with your kids, you ride with your dad, you ride for your entire life. And so hopefully we can start seeing that and supporting that as a community, as a district. And, you know, this picture in the top right, if you haven't heard, there were jumps that were bulldozed a couple weeks ago in Granite Bay, and they were unauthorized jumps, but it was due because, you know, the state parks have not been working with organizations like Fat Track to develop things that there's a demand for from the community. So it was built on its own. The bottom right picture you'll see is unfortunately just below Fair Oaks, down by the horse stables at Sunset in Maine. You know, we don't want to see that no bike sign. We want to embrace the bike culture and make places for people to ride that are legal and won't get bulldozed. So that's what we're hoping to see in the future. I think that's the last slide.
Hey, Garrett, before you leave the Glenboro slide, so the point of showing that particular slide, and I'm very familiar with the project because I worked on it, are you saying that the master plan for the parks is changing, and from, you know, the traditional stuff to field sports to, are they going to put in a dirt track or a mountain bike park? What is the purpose of the slide?
The slide is, if I have anything to say about it, they will hopefully start putting in dirt tracks and bike parks. I met with one of the head developers, Easton, that's in charge of developing this project. And that's where I saw this picture when I was talking to him about, hey, let's do an indoor bike park down at one of your warehouses. that we were looking to develop, and let's include bike trails, mountain bike trails, not just paved asphalt trails. So he was interested in considering that. A lot of it is up to the developer. He's just the property owner that's looking to sell to developers, but there's been no decision on making more bike parks down there.
Okay.
It's just my hope, I guess, and the hope of all the, and I don't think, before I end, I just want to say, like, last year, it felt like I was representing about, 150, 170 people from Family FreeRide, but now it feels like I'm representing the whole bike community coming to you and being like, hey, there's thousands of people that came to our tiny little pump track in this last year. There's, tens of thousands of people that ride bikes around the Sacramento region. And I'm coming to you as a representative of all of those people, that this is a need that we see, and we're coming to you humbly to ask that we address that need.
Garrett, that was an excellent presentation. Do any of the board members or community members have questions or comments before we actually let's start with the board members.
I don't have any questions, Chair. I just wanted to thank Mr. McDermott for truly a phenomenal presentation and putting that together, and for what he does in the community. So, Garrett, thank you again for that, and for your time that you have put to the community and the bike park.
You're very welcome, Reverend James. Thank you.
So, does anybody else have other board member have a comment?
I have a quick question. Thank you to Garrett for doing the presentation. I really appreciate it. The jump and flow section, is that separate from what would be the skills loop? And when you refer to the skills loop, are you talking about the perimeter, kind of the one that goes around Phoenix Park?
The jump and flow area would be separate. It would be combined with the asphalt pump track.
Okay.
Skills loop would I like to think of it as an obstacle course.
Okay.
You ride along, and then every 50 yards you come up to a different type of feature that you would find out in the wild, a rock garden, a drop, a root area, and you would practice those skills on the perimeter trail.
Okay. And then one more question about the perimeter trail. The way you kind of have it laid out on the concept design, would it impact parking at all, like the current parking situation? Or would parking essentially remain the same, but the perimeter trail would just go around the park?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, so,
okay.
Director Carhart and I kind of walked one night when we were out checking out the bike park, and we walked around, and it wouldn't interfere with anything. There are two road crossings, one right in front of the VFW where we're at tonight, and there's another road crossing kind of over by kind of where the snack shack is, that would come back in. So those are the issues that we'd have to kind of address. Like if we are going to put that in, we would have to look at some way to kind of signal that there is a road crossing there for bikes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you.
John, I'd like to add some comments.
Mm-hmm.
May I?
Yes.
First, Garrett, that's an excellent presentation. It was well done. And for me, it's not the first time I've seen it. I'm very excited about the concept. As we've discussed, we used to make those kind of informal play areas and empty lots when I was a kid back in the 50s and 60s. And there aren't many empty lots anymore and opportunities to do that. I'm very excited about your proposal. I like the idea of perhaps staging, and Mike will discuss some of the issues that have to be addressed before we take on a project like that. But I'm very much hoping we can do something along that line. Thank you for a great presentation.
Yeah, and I'll just add, Garrett, that was excellent. That obviously you put a lot of thought into the design. That was an excellent slide that really is descriptive on the layout of everything. And I'm a huge proponent of biking and cycling in general. So it's really exciting to see that. And I really appreciate the thought and the process that you went through to prepare that for us. So thank you, Garrett.
Mike, do you want to make your presentation, or would you like to hear community comments first?
I think it'd be all right if I would do mine, and then the comments also, that the public might have could also associate around my presentation. If that's all right. Okay, thank you. You should see my slides there.
We do.
Great. Well, thank you all, and thank you all the public here that's participating. And Garrett, again, thank you for your presentation and for your excitement about this project. A couple of things I need to kind of bring up, and I haven't done this to our board, and not even during my interviews did I do it, because it wasn't really appropriate for the interview that I was going through when I came here. But in my cover letter to apply for this job on April 19th, 2017, in the highlight areas, I stated a couple of things. First of all, hands-on experience developing and managing a 960-acre park that includes an extensive mountain bike park and trail network, adventure ropes course, event area, and 2 disc golf courses. I go on to state, for the city of Eagle, I manage the trail network, including the Boise River Greenbelt, all city parks, an adventure park, which included a bike park, extensive multi-use trail network, skate park, and BMX track. In my resume, I had a statement that said, development of one of the United States' largest outdoor recreation programs, development of a whitewater park and 2 skate parks. That's important because it shows that that as a manager and as a director, I have a high risk tolerance. And that's important when we work on these kinds of projects. You have a high risk tolerance. In my resume, I also state, in Spokane, I oversaw the operation of a regional BMX track and managed the 900+ acre park that included a mountain bike park trail, 18-hole disc golf, 36 miles of hiking trails, and a large open area for camps and special events. Also in Spokane, I oversaw the initial development and subsequent leadership of an outdoor recreation program for the city of Spokane. I developed the outdoor program to become one of the largest programs of its type in the country. Additional risk sports that we had included BMX, as I mentioned, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, sea kayaking, and mountain bike racing. My mountain bike skill set, management skill set. I was an expert, and in my last move up, I was a semi-pro mountain bike racer for 12 years. It sounds moderately impressive, but as a semi-pro, you raced against the pros, and somebody had to come in last, and that was usually me. Spokane Parks and Recreation. I was the staff lead on the team that established and managed the Beacon Hill Mountain Bike Park from 1998 to 2012. That was 14 years. And then in Eagle, I managed the Eagle Ada Mountain Bike Park from 2012 till 2017 for 5 years. That's a total of 31 years of involvement at the highest level of mountain biking. I also road biked and road raced nationally, but we're talking about the mountain biking skill sets. This is the map of the Beacon Hill Park area. Excuse me. You can see the extensive network of trails in the 960+ acres, close to 1,000-acre park that was developed under my lead. I worked with Evergreen Bike Alliance. Evergreen was our user group. Evergreen is the nation's largest statewide mountain bike organization with 7 chapters. Just going to pop this for a second. This is just some of the things that they do. You see Sakani, that's part of Beacon, the pump track, trail meetings, pump track, events, Beacon Hill, uphill, and then the map day. A very extensive group with a large following. These are some of the conditions that we encountered when we first took over Beacon and started managing with Evergreen. We had a lot of homemade built or home built stuff. You talk about Folsom knocking down jumps and jump lines and pathways. That is exactly what we had to do. We had to take these things down because of risk and liability, and also because of environmental damage that was occurring. You can see the picture on the right there. That is a sandy loam soil, and they tried to build a jump out of it. Well, obviously it didn't have the structuring to be able to maintain that jump line. And they basically trenched the dirt to create that jump line, or that jump. It wasn't a jump line. And the ramp on the left, it's put in with nails. It's the wrong material. The actual boards on top, you can't see it. They're coated slick deck, coated on top of that ramp there. And you can see it's aged lumber buried into the ground. Here's another example of a homemade jump. You can see the degradation there of the environment on the left, and with a hole. They did not truck that material in. They had to mine it, if you will, from the surrounding area. They had to take those logs, those potential, the decay of those logs and stuff that adds to the forest floor and things like that. They had to take those and pile them up and then bring in the pallets to do this. And we had to carry all that out and redo the entire area because of that type of management or lack of management for a bike facility. This is what it is today. This was a picture taken Saturday when I was over in Spokane. They were just maintaining this new jump, or this lip here, or not the lip, but the ramp. And if you look back here in the back side, you'll see 3 of those. It's a line of expert level. And you can see the different colors of boards on that ramp right there, on that kicker. And those different colored boards are boards that were replaced this year during the investigation or the management of these facilities. You'll also see right by my bicycle there, you'll see the supports. Those are brand new as of this year as well. So that management is critical for this type of facility. I'm going to show you a short video of what Beacon looks like.
Street, using guns and knives, taking drugs and each other's lives, killing each other with knives and forks, calling each other names like dogs. Oh, oh.
Yeah. Get diseases from monkeys. Yeah, that's what I said. They get diseases from monkeys. Now there's junkies with monkey disease. Who sent these monkeys? Please leave these poor sick monkeys alone. They got problems enough as it is.
Man is lying on the street, some punks chopped off his head. I'm the only one who stops to see he's dead. Turns out he's dead, and that's why I'm singing. What is wrong with the world today?
What's wrong with the world today?
What is wrong with the world today? Hey, hey.
You gotta think about it.
Think about it.
So throughout this management of Beacon, we're doing everything. Hold on a second, sorry.
Background music, guys.
In Eagle, I also had a bike park that I managed, and this is from 2015. Beginning in 2015, there are no less than 6 gold level ride centers. This is an article from IMBA, the International Mountain Bike Association. In 2015, in August, Boise Eagle, Idaho, the bike park was awarded the gold level of bicycling. That was when I was managing that facility. There are 6 gold medal riding centers in the world, and Boise, Idaho is one of them, the Eagle Bike Park. This is a gentleman who's maybe familiar to some of the people that are listening today, Randy Spangler, who helped design that park initially back before I arrived. It was then ran by volunteers, and then I took it over and started professional managing it. I'll show you some pictures of what happened after the initial opening of a professionally designed mountain bike park. This is what happened. 3 years of volunteer management without professional management turned a park that was basically world-class into a very challenging facility. And here's what it looks like after I managed it. I want to share one more short video here of Eagle.
Hey, what's up guys? My name's Kyle Warner, and today I'm out here at Eagle Bike Park, and I'm going to show you my 3 favorite trails at this park. They have a ton here. We got everything from greens, we got some blues and some blacks. Technically everything I'm going to show you today is a black diamond, but they're pretty mellow for the most part, and overall it's a really fun trail network, good to build your skills at and just have a good time. Eagle is also one of the few places that's completely e-bike legal, so I ride out here a lot on the weekends with my girlfriend, just doing some fun laps and building some skills. So yeah, if you're in the area in the Treasure Valley, definitely come check out Eagle Bike Park, and I'll show you the 3 best trails here right now. All right, so this is my most favorite trail. This one's called Shake and Bake. It's got a lot of really fun features, some good rock technical features, and it's kind of the best like little training trail in the area. Woo! I made it! I haven't cleared that yet with the redesign. All right, so right through here, there's some fun stuff. Little manual. Nice little drop coming up here. All right, and then there's a really big double out of this next corner. We'll see if I can get it. Woo! I got it. All right, a little rock garden. Fun little drop. All right, little rock garden right here too. I like to seat bounce this. Drop. Just for extra speed. And then there's a cool little finish line jump features in it. It gets me really stoked to kind of go travel, hit some other stuff, and if I'm feeling rusty, I'll come out here and do a bunch of laps on Shake and Bake until I feel good on it. So yeah, it's one of my favorites. Let's go check out the other ones too. I got 2 more to show you guys. All right, so this is my second favorite trail. This one's called Storm and Mormon. This is a really good trail. It's kind of one of those ones, the first few times you ride it, you're like, man, I can't figure out the flow, but after a while, you really start to get it, and it's super fun.
And this one, just pay attention to the
There's also a few really fun drops on this trail. 2 of them are kind of bigger, one of them's pretty small, but I love this trail. So right here, there's a drop, slide, woo, a little pop off, woo, and then this corner's kind of tricky too. Right here, you gotta go slow, pop high. This is a really fun berm. I'm gonna slam into it. Wow. little baby no-hander. Little baby toboggan. This corner is really fun too. I like to nose wheelie. Little drop. Woo! And then, kind of a bigger double right here. You gotta crank out that corner. Super fun little skipper.
As you saw in that slide, you'll see some purposely built items. You'll see some armoring, what we call armoring around the landing zones or armoring around some takeoff zones. We saw some great lips in there that were put in and maintained well. All of that means to us as a parks manager is that the parks are wonderful when they're maintained well. And over here on this slide, this is the pump track. This is part of what's called the flow trail. And you can see that these surface areas are hard packed, very similar to our pump track here in Fair Oaks. But you'll see also outside of here, you'll see a lot less vegetation than you will in Fair Oaks. And that's basically because of its the amount of time that's spent managing that facility.
So Mike, he was on an e-bike, right?
No, he was. I don't think he was. It sounded like it, didn't it? But I don't think he was.
You could hear the motor.
Yeah, yeah. But he's just booking on it. This, I want to share this with you because we do need to talk about risk. And this happened August 2020, not when I was at the park. It was on the Stormy Mormon Trail. You saw that that he rode that trail. The gentleman was declared dead. The man was found 300 feet up the trail, not very far. Talk about close into the park. So he wasn't way out. He was only 300 feet up the trail. He was wearing a helmet. There were some injuries that indicated he fell from his bicycle. Now, injuries happen, and we know injuries happen. They happen in all places. They happen on swing sets. It doesn't matter if you're on a bike or what, they do happen. And so it really comes down to risk tolerance, what your risk tolerance is, and then how you manage and mitigate your risks. And what we do for swings, for an example, is we do a surface, a poured in place surface on the ground. We do inspections of the equipment. When we do repairs, we do authorized repairs. And when we do repairs, we use authorized parts and service. And when we install those swing sets, we do installation and materials that are authorized to do that. That's critical when you're talking about mountain bike parks as well. The issue with mountain bike parks from a management side is you're still talking about a new mode of recreation in parks. It hasn't been around as long as swings or baseball. And so the management pieces are still falling into place, and they'll continue to fall into place. There's some very good ones managed out there, and there's some very poor ones. I am not adverse to risk in well-managed parks. I am adverse to risk in poorly managed parks. And that's critical that you know that.
Mike?
Yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry, your screen share has gotten very hard to read.
Oh.
Do you want to just stop your screen share and then
Sure.
restart it? It should get us back.
Yeah, I don't really have much there left, but let's get the last little thing because this is. There we go. So as I mentioned, is that better? Ian?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, well, let me just explain. I'll stop the screen share. It's not critical.
Okay.
I've managed skate parks as well, and I've managed those skate parks for probably 25 years, maybe a little bit longer. And what's interesting about skate parks is they're designed and built at a professional level. There are no DIY, do-it-yourself skate parks in parks and recreation. They are all purposely built, designed, and operated with a tolerance of risk. Some communities will not do skate parks because their tolerance for risk is lower. We have a skate park, so our tolerance is a little higher. I've managed skate parks, so my tolerance is higher. And that's the same with mountain bike parks for me. What I hope you're getting from some of this is that my skill set is very unique in the country. is probably the highest in of Parks and Recreation of anybody else. I have a gold standard mountain bike park and one of the largest that we built from scratch in Spokane. Whatever we do, it has to be managed and maintained at the highest level because you hired me. And you hired me, if something goes wrong, all of my back skill set will be brought into play. So I'm not opposed to any kind of mountain bike park. I'm fully supportive of it, but we have to do this right and correct. That was the main focus of that. Thank you.
Mike, could I ask a question? It seems like the stuff you managed appears to be, fairly high level stuff, fairly risky. So it's kind of a question to Garrett also. Are at what level are we talking about our concept for a bike park in Fair Oaks?
90% of our users at the bike parks that I manage were exactly at the level we're talking about developing this park right here in Fair Oaks. 90%. 10% were obviously much different. And actually their risk tolerance and their ability to absorb their liability is much greater than a beginner. They understand the risk. A high level user understands the risk at a much, the concept, the risk much better than a young child or even a teenager who's just starting to jump. So really our maintenance and management level has to go to that level because there is an assumption of risk as you go up higher. So a pro, for an example, we can have a choppy park and they'll be okay. We're not going to get in trouble. But if that choppy park and we have maybe an advanced beginner on it and they crash and we've done something wrong, like haven't maintained the feature correctly, that's when we can get in big trouble. Okay, so we are managing for the level that we're talking about primarily, even in those two other parks. So we have progression. So everything from the highest level down to the very beginner level. And so we manage for those areas right there. So good question. Sorry, I didn't bring that up.
So Mike, okay, I know I'm assuming everybody's read the staff report, and why don't you just give us a summary overview of the staff report and what your recommendation is, please?
So yeah, the summary is that we would have the bicycle park as concept, bicycle concept park, available for and push it forward through public outreach after a couple of things happen. One, we ink the deal, we sign the deal with La Vista for the ball fields, because the ball fields are still kind of that outlier for Phoenix Park. We're not sure if the ball fields are going to go there, but we know that La Vista is a better opportunity. If La Vista gets signed, the ball fields are going to move to La Vista. The other thing is we need to increase to develop the budget for La Vista. We have an estimation, but we've never gone fully into the budget on that. We have to do that for the ball fields, because are we doing one field, two fields, three fields? Not sure. The bathroom, there has to be a bathroom there for the ball fields. We do have a structure there. It's going to need some renovation. And then we have to have parking. And so those three elements have to be dealt with in a budgetary sense, so we know how much this is going to cost us. Once we know that, then we can look at the Measure J money and say, okay, we still have X amount for Phoenix available, whatever that X amount would be. Now we can go in and start that outreach, knowing that the bike park, as Mr. McDermott mentioned, it can be done in parts. Maybe we do the asphalt part first or something. Who knows what we would do first? It would all depend if we do something out there. So it allows us that flexibility in budget to be able to do those types of things. The other thing that we're recommending is that the bike park not be constructed until we complete the outreach out there. But we are putting the bike park out as a element for the park. The budget is critical for that, because if someone wants to build a swimming pool, someone comes in and says, hey, we'd like to see a swimming pool out there. Realistically, we probably don't have the budget for it, that kind of thing. So we want to be certain that we have the budgetary amount when we go to full public outreach, that if someone comes in with something out there, a splash pad, a swimming pool, something, that the budget is there for it. But Anyway, so
Mike?
the staff recommendation is that we wait, that we keep the bike park concept idea. We do the deal with La Vista. We sign the lease agreement, and then we get the budget, and then we start with the public outreach on it.
Hey, Mike?
Yeah.
Do we have a timeline on, like, how is that progressing with
La Vista.
La Vista, and where are we at with the process of that?
Yeah, good question. We, our meeting with the school board has been bumped to June, the early part of June, I believe. And that was done by the school board. So we will meet with them in June. What will probably happen is that we will, their board, San Juan Unified School District, will, if everything goes well, they will allow staff to go to the attorney, then that's San Juan staff, to go to the attorney and work with us to develop the terms and the agreement. Once we, as staff and our committee, our representatives that are working with San Juan, we agree to those terms, it will then go to our board and the school district board for authorization for signature. All right, because they have to have that agreement. So we can't skip that piece of it. So once they authorize the signature, then we're off and running and working on the budget for that. The earliest that we would see approval for an agreement, and this is the very earliest, San Juan School District does not meet in July. So the earliest we would see approval of an agreement would be August. That's if nothing goes wrong during that time frame. Then we would start working on the budget. Say it takes 30 or so days to work on the budget on that, with a little bit of outreach out there at La Vista, because we want to make sure the neighbors aren't going to go crazy on a location of a parking lot or something like that. And then we come back with the budget, and we probably see that budget, if everything goes well, September, October. And
So Mike, can I ask a question? The perimeter track is basically pretty much unused area now. If that were a low level, not high risk bicycle trail, it's not hindered by waiting for ball fields or anything else. It could be built as an adjunct to the existing track there. What's your thoughts on that?
as long as we deal with the safety end of that, we talked about a couple of road crossings, just a couple, and a couple is a couple too many, in my opinion. And then we also have to look at crossings with pedestrians. I don't know. I haven't looked at the location to see what kind of impact it might have with crossing with pedestrians. Bikes are meant to be kept moving. They're not meant to be stopped. And that's one of the challenges, that bikes generally don't stop. And you'll see that on the green belt when they cross a road too. They don't stop. And when we have a 8-year-old riding a bicycle interfacing with traffic or pedestrians, we want to be certain that we don't have any incidents. The other piece is we want to make certain that we don't have any environmental damage or environmental impacts. Not sure on how that would look. Those can be addressed though. They can be worked on. It's just, those are my initial thoughts on it.
Thank you.
Mike, I have some questions. So did you say October is when we would get, you thought permitting for the La Vista? Is that what you thought?
No, that's when we could get the budget probably. If everything goes well, we could get the budgetary figures to the board in October, September, October
for La Vista.
For La Vista, correct.
For La Vista. Okay, got it.
Yep.
So my question, one of my big questions is on the outreach aspect about this. What do we have per a policy or written, what expectations do we have as a district for outreach on something like this?
Question. Yeah, we don't have a policy. I don't know if there's anybody that has a real policy on outreach. It really depends on the project. For an example, girls softball outreach was way different than pickleball. That's another good example. Right. So we really don't have a policy. It's just how the project's developed and the kind of support and things like that.
Great. So then the pickleball, that's I know that's on the agenda, but that's like 500,000 or 600,000. Am I right?
Yeah, I know we're gonna have that tonight. So let's just say it's 460 something, I think.
Okay. So it's a decent amount of money,
right?
That isn't necessarily like, as far as like an outreach, it wasn't necessarily big to do. I just wanted to share fellow directors kind of my feelings as far as I definitely, you know, after La Vista's settled, I would like to see this. I would like us to move more on it and get a plan in place. I don't necessarily think we need such a drawn out outreach with this. So I just wanted to voice that because, you know, Mike, it kind of felt like you were looking at a bigger outreach thing. And I don't necessarily think we need to do that for this. I think we have seen a need. I think we have seen activation, and I would love to see a plan really in place after, you know, I'd love to see staff present a plan in place after La Vista gets off the ground or after we figure out budgetarily with La Vista.
I
don't think we need meetings on meetings of outreach. That's just my feeling. That's what I wanted to make clear.
The only thing that I, at least from a staff point of view, I'd like to bring up is that we have relatively little open space available for development, and this is one of the larger parcels that we'll have. And so, you know, whatever outreach we do, we just want to be certain that it's enough. You know, it doesn't have to be huge. And budgetarily, you know, we don't have to go crazy over it again because we probably aren't going to have enough money for a swimming pool, you know. So
is
that's
that on
not
the list?
That's not going to happen, you know.
I don't recall
that was on the list.
not on my list.
Yeah, and we're not putting more ball fields in there. We already know that if it goes to La Vista. So
right. So I just again want us to be smart with our resources as far as I don't, you know, support $20,000 outreach on this whatsoever. I support very little money spent and just more community involvement. So anyway, so that was my question. And then the other thing, it seems then like we probably wouldn't, if we did end up going ahead with this after we got some sort of preliminary thing in October regarding La Vista, it sounds like to see something like this come to fruition in your true expertise, would you gather that that would be 3-4 years down the road, longer? What would you kind of eyeball that at with your expertise?
You know, what I see on that concept plan, the hardest part at this point would be the asphalt. That would be the longer development process. We've got some earth moving, permitting and stuff we'd have to do. I would think that you could probably get 90% of it done within 5 months, 6 months once you start.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, because you're not building parking. I mean, remember, parking's another part of this outside this project. It's another project. So all of that's happening on another level. So it's not happening as part of the
So hypothetically, then this project could be 90% completed within, what do you think, a year and a half?
Oh yeah, easy.
Now?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, the restrooms too. We'd want to look a little bit at the restrooms. You know, where's the restroom impact? You know, I don't know exactly what, but that slows. Once we build a building, it slows things down too.
Yeah, great. Well, that answers a lot of my questions. Thank you.
Would you like
about? Oh, excuse me,
Ralph. Can we move around a little bit now so that we make sure everybody has their thoughts?
I just had a quick question for Mike, and that is, who would do the design on this? Would we have our own consultant, or would we have a review of somebody else's proposal?
My recommendation would be that we hire outside designers for this.
Thank you.
Belinda.
So I fully support the idea of doing a mountain bike type park. As to the scope of it or the extent of it, I still need to kind of think about it. But for me, the biggest thing about Phoenix Park is just making sure, one, that we have parking so that people can use the park. And so people can come to Phoenix, maybe if they're not from the direct neighborhood. I really think that's important to make sure we don't lose a single parking spot in Phoenix Park. I do kind of like the idea of, I absolutely understand the need to leverage our resources and maybe holding off on a huge outreach type idea until after we know what's going on with La Vista. But I also like the idea of possibly moving ahead and starting the process of investigating what it would take to do the perimeter. Because I do think that would be, I really like that aspect of it. I don't like the crossings part, of course, because kids and cars don't mix. But if there's a way for us to just, I mean, if we were going to do the project in pieces anyway, to me, that seems to be one of the easier pieces to do. So, but no, I do support the idea.
Okay, Mike, first of all, I want to thank you also for the PowerPoint that you put together. That was incredibly informative. And I have a much greater appreciation for what you have done. I have done some double diamonds in Park City, but the stuff that you showed me today, there's no way, even at 45 years old, I would have done that. Anyway, I also support moving forward with something. And so La Vista is the linchpin in this whole thing. So you say that the process with La Vista is get the lease. And if we don't get the lease signed in October or August or October, then that pushes everything else out, come up with a budget, figure out the parking issues, figure out, community concerns. To Raymond James's comment about outreach, I would agree with him also to the extent that we have typically reacted in the past to user groups. Fair Oaks Tennis Club, they wanted to do something and they came up with some money and we did something. Darren and the disc golf, one of our incredibly easy, low-hanging fruit projects to do, but once again, it was a user group that came forward. So now we have a user group through Family FreeRide, and they're coming forward. And Garrett has put in a lot of sweat equity into this. Raising money is hard, but I appreciate his effort as well. And I also appreciate his passion. So I'd like to see us move forward as well, but obviously with the caveat that we can't commit to anything at this point, but what we can do is investigate what some of the kind of the low-hanging fruit alternatives might be. And maybe, over the next 2 or 3 months, once things settle down, well, actually, they're not going to settle down. So next couple of months, maybe you could give us just a preliminary report on what you think might be feasible out there. Now, the crossings and the parking are an issue, and how we deal with that, I'm not sure at this point. But you're on the bike trail all the time. I'm on the bike trail all the time. I ride with 6 and 7 and 8-year-old kids, and when I see them coming, I slow down. There are actually road crossings on the bike trail, multiple road crossings over the 20 miles that I ride, and there are ways to handle that. So I think you never say never. I'm sure that we can solve some of these problems. So that would be my take too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we need to explore and look at the feasibility of the perimeter trail. It's funny that the parking situation never really crossed my mind until tonight when, Garrett's talking about tens of thousands of people that are, mountain biking and cycling in the community. And, we all know how pressed we are just on a weekend with baseball or soccer, and there isn't enough parking for that. So, feasibility is of interest of, how do we accomplish that? Let's say we did have 300 or 400 people that wanted to show up to this concept bike park. What do we do with them? Where do they park? Are they, I'm guessing that they're not all riding their bikes there. Because he had mentioned that it's going to attract a lot of people from out of the community, and we want to make sure that we have plenty of parking for the community as well. So, but I'm a big proponent in the idea. I love it. I think there's been a lot of thought and process and work that's gone into it, and I'm definitely interested in exploring the perimeter track in the time being. But obviously, we need to get our ducks in a row with La Vista and what's going on, because obviously if that falls through, then it's a completely different outlook on what we're doing there to begin with. So there's just a lot of pieces in the puzzle, in my opinion, that need to fall into place.
So Mike has made a recommendation with respect to how we might move forward. I would agree with Mike that once again, the cornerstone of the linchpin is going to be La Vista. But if Mike, can you just take informal direction to come back to us within, say, 90 or 120 days with some kind of a plan to evaluate, what a perimeter track would, as a start, would entail?
Yeah, I can do that.
Is it because you did say 90% or 95% could be done roughly at the same time. I would love to see a perimeter track as well. My only question is, would spending a lot of time on the perimeter track take away time from having the majority of it completed in a shorter time, or not really?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. We really want to look at where that perimeter track's going, how it interfaces with the undeveloped property, and that would be one of the things. How it interfaces with the undeveloped property would be one of the things that would really slow this down, because if we're going to do an interior, let's just say the jump lines are interior, which they probably would be, the equipment would have to cross that perimeter trail, or probably cross it, may not have to, but probably would cross it at some point in time. And that would definitely be a negative, and it also would slow construction down. So it depends on how that perimeter trail affects the interior part of our development.
When I was out with Garrett on looking at perimeter trail possibilities, it struck me as it's fairly low-hanging fruit. Granted, the crossings are an issue, but the path is fairly open and fairly simple. But I just wanted to add my voice to the fact I think we should move forward with a look at that as a first step. And I'm very excited about the whole proposal. I think Garrett's inspired me, and just the experience that people will get on bikes. I mean, I would see that it's going to make a lot more people comfortable with biking in general, and that's a good thing. And as we've learned in COVID, people just really, really appreciate these somewhat solo outdoor activities and how important they are.
Can a board member make a motion, please? We have at least 5 more items before we even get to the foundation.
John, did you want some of the public to comment?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Public
Absolutely.
comment.
For sure.
Okay. So we had a couple of people who wanted to comment. Amy Larson was the first to make a comment. Amy, if you'd like to. Hi, Amy.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Hi, Amy.
Am I able to turn on my video or not?
No.
No?
You
Okay.
can.
I can?
Sorry.
I don't think we have that for.
Okay. Okay, well, you guys all know me. I'm on the Bond Oversight Committee, and I worked on the Measure J projects. And I am also a member of Family FreeRide. I am currently here at Oak Creek BMX. We were hoping to show you guys a little video of what's going on here every Wednesday and Saturday, and practices on Thursday. We've got the Striders out racing right now. It's pretty cute. But I just wanted to say that I support the expansion of the bike park. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, and we live across from Phoenix Park. And our favorite thing to do now is to ride over there with my husband, and the whole family can ride together. I think Garrett made a really good point about the flow line being a great resource for safety for our kids. I've been hesitant to take my kids out on any mountain bike trails for fear of crashing, and it does happen, and that's fine, and that's a risk all of us parents of bikers are willing to take. But if it's done in a park-like setting where we can get to first aid, then all the better. But yeah, I wanted to thank the board for their support of this. Garrett's done a great job. Oh, we're about to start races. But there's 200 racers out here, and we all have to go to Elk Grove, Auburn, Tahoe, to be on our on our off race days in order to kind of get this. So hopefully you can hear me, but yeah, thank you for your support. And I look forward to learning more about if we can do that flow trail or not.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Amy. Ian, next.
Okay, next we have Justin Drake.
Justin. Hey, Justin, you're on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to voice my support for the expansion of the bike park. With the pandemic, there's been basically a bike boom and shortage, but there's been a major increase in bike usage. I found it really interesting. I'm going to sort of echo what Amy said about the BMX track at Oak Creek. They have developed a great community, and that community has bled over to our pump track. I see people from the BMX track all the time over at the pump track, and I think adding an expansion to our park wouldn't detract from the BMX track, and vice versa. It would be a synergistic effect and make them both have more higher usage. I know there's concerns about parking. This is a bike pump track where people can show up on bikes, and but if there's a concern that our parks are going to get overused, there's worse things than getting people in the parks, and so that would be great. And I definitely think that specifically this dirt pump track has proven concept. I mean, it's shown that if you build it, the people will show up. It's been busy all the time. It's busy when it's not all really busy when there's baseball games, but there's people riding it when there's baseball games. The younger kids ride there when the older kids are playing ball, and it's busy frequently. So my only concern, I know that we need to focus on La Vista and potentially getting additional property. That's very important for the district, right? Adding land is a very limited possibility. My only concern is that hooking ourselves up to the school district could hook us up to a very long delayed process of whether or not they're going to make a decision. And that's my only concern, is that the baseball or the softball is holding up a lot of other things. And I don't know if there's any way to make it move faster at the district. But that's my only concern. So with that, I just want to know that I support the bike park.
Thanks, Justin. Ian?
Next is Benjamin. Benjamin, if you can just please state your full name before you start speaking. Thank you.
Somebody's on mute.
Benjamin, just need to have you unmute.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, if you can just state your full name, please.
Yeah, sorry about that. I mean, really, I'm just going to reiterate what Justin and Amy said. I am a board member here for Sac Valley BMX. We're the organization that runs Oak Creek BMX. I'm actually out here now. I think Amy's on the other side of the track now. Like Justin mentioned, we have a tight community here. Everybody knows each other. We all race here at the track, and then every weekend we're looking for a place to go ride. I have two 10-year-old children. We live in the Carmichael area, so Phoenix Park is close to us, about 10 minutes away. Our closest bike park other than Phoenix is Elk Grove, like Amy mentioned. That's like a 20-30 minute drive for us, but every weekend we're looking for a place to ride. To have a bike park that close to us with the kind of jump lines, flow lines that we like to ride would be an invaluable asset, not just to my family, but to a large portion of our ridership. Many of these people that are out here tonight, and there's probably close to 1,000 people out here tonight, probably over 200 riders. Many of them are from Fair Oaks and the surrounding areas, Citrus Heights, Carmichael, Fair Oaks. A lot of these people hail from that area. A lot of these people would be in full support, probably be over there now, in person, except we're all here racing tonight. So, I just want to show my support, let you know that the whole BMX community in this region is absolutely in support of building a bike park in Fair Oaks. We would love it. It would be a fantastic asset, not only for us, but for the Fair Oaks community as a whole.
So, hey, Benjamin, before you leave, what is your last name?
Wadsworth.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next we have Mark, and Mark, if you can also state your first and last name before you start. Thank you.
Mark Ossaker.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. You have the mic.
Mark, did you have a comment that you wanted to make?
I think he needs to unmute.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to address the staff report, and two of the goals are listed in there that reference or that need to happen before the bike park could be built. One of them is that the school district needs to agree upon the lease finalization. I don't believe it accurately captures the status of the negotiations right now. As I understand it, it's pretty far along. And second, the budget is established for the improvements needed for the school La Vista to make it useful. This also assumes that the district will be 100% responsible for the project. The last project taught us to start early and often for grant approval. So I think we should be going with this sooner than later, because it would give us more time to look for grants and outside funding. And the bike park it's very popular. You see people there all the time, and I think this would, more is needed. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, and so next I have Orion. Orion, if I can have you please say your first and last name before you start. Thank you.
My name is Orion McDermott. I'm Garrett's son, and I want the bike park because the bike park there is too small and it's always crowded every day, and I want a bigger bike park. So sorry. So we can have more space and have more fun, have a bigger place, and my dad could have more fun too with us. Wait.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, and next we have Hans. Again, if you can please say your first and last name before you speak. So give him just a moment. Okay, Hans, whenever you're ready. Hans. Okay, looks like we aren't getting anything from him.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have him go back, and it looks like somebody.
It looks like there's a gentleman on Mr. McDermott's that also would like to speak as well.
Yeah,
we can
exactly.
unmute him.
Oops. Sorry. Garrett, if you can unmute one more time for me. Garrett, if you can unmute.
I was going to be able to speak or not. So first, I have a sketch of what they've already submitted to you with what may be a little bit of a help in the parking situation that that we already struggle with. But anyhow, my name is Scott Johnson, and I'm the newly elected vice president of the Fair Oaks Orangevale Little League. As you may already know, FOVL is the second largest Little League organization in Sacramento County. This year, we fielded 570 young baseball stars. Pre-pandemic, we exceeded 600. Parking is hands down the biggest complaint we receive from our families. We do not reject improvement of Phoenix Park nor an amazing bike park. However, we strongly reject this project with only 30 added parking spaces. We need more than 30 adding parking spaces as it exists today. Any given Saturday during the baseball season, we could have upwards of 1,000 people at our fields. This number does not sniff the total when the lacrosse and soccer fields are in use. Then add in the dog park goers, existing bike park goers, vernal pool visitors, and casual park goers, and the number doubled. The existing parking situation simply does not support our current traffic flow. Families are receiving parking tickets, cars are lining Sunset Avenue, Leatham Avenue and Groff Street are lined with cars, upsetting residents to the point that they set cones out in front of their homes to prevent park goers from parking in front of their homes. The main road leading in and out of the park is littered with curbside parked cars. The road does not support oncoming traffic and curbside parking. We must address the current parking situation before the park can evolve. The proposed 30 new parking spots will not do. It also will need to be protected by a very tall, exceptionally large net, as our major division kids will hit it out of the park towards these vehicles. Again, we do not reject the improvements to Phoenix Park. If you were to scale down the proposed bike park by just a few feet, then the main road could be equipped with pull-in parking. This would instantly double the amount of cars able to park along this road. It would also eliminate the battles and dangers of curbside parking along this path. This would free up the park-going families of parking ticket threats and alleviate the surrounding residents of their current frustrations. We understand that this is not a small project, but it is necessary. It is a necessary addition to Phoenix Park's evolution. Please consider this option. FOVLL is ready to start a petition on its behalf and will receive full cooperation from all sports organizations and families of young athletes choosing Phoenix Park as their child's sports headquarters. We thank you in advance for putting the parking nightmare in our rearview mirror, and FOVLL looks forward to many more years to calling Phoenix Park home.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments.
Were you guys able to see the picture at all?
And it looks like we have one more, Janelle.
We have one more speaker as well, Janelle Stratton Martin from the Cycling Development Organization, high school mountain bike coach. If she can just jump in right now, she's ready to go if you guys can still hear us.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, hi. My name is Janelle Martin. I am a cycling coach for the Cycling Development cycling and racing program that runs all around the area. I am the coach of the Spartans team, which is one of 8 teams on the Cycling Development. And I know for a fact that we already have come here. I bring my team here. We started our season here at the pump track because some of the kids didn't know about it. And they were really excited to learn about it. They, I think what the bike park can bring is a skill level and bring the skills to and add skills to the kids that ride. I know my own experience at the Truckee Bike Park, I learned a great deal from their pump track and some of the drops that they have and some of the technical areas that they have at their bike park that my son taught me. So just having that, I think adds a lot of safety to the biking community. Just learning some of the skills in a controlled environment. One of the other things that I think is a safety issue is that some of the kids are building outside areas in the state parks that aren't really legal, and in other places that are hidden. I just went to one. My friend brought me to like an illegal build area, and I thought to myself, if the kids are building out there and something goes wrong, there's no way anybody will know about it. So they're out there by themselves. Whereas this is more of a supervised place where they can build their skills and feel comfortable getting those skills built. So we're also closing our season tomorrow here at Phoenix Bike Park. So I'm an advocate. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Janelle.
We have one more, Sarah. Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong, Dion.
Yeah, Dion. Hi, I'm Sarah Dion. I just want to emphasize this bike park isn't just for the young. I'm 60 years old and I use that bike park. I use the pump track like twice a week. And it really has helped me a lot. And I thank you so much for putting in that bike park. I was a runner for many years, but as I got older, my back was couldn't handle the impact. So I decided to try mountain biking. And because I really love to be out in nature and run out there, and mountain biking was amazing. However, I lacked skills. Just about that same time I started riding, we put in the pump track. And so I was able to go and use that, particularly when you ride out mountain biking. There's a lot of trails that go downhill, and I was really scared of tight turns. So every time I got to a hill where there was a tight turn, I literally got off my bike and walked around. It was pretty embarrassing, but I did it. But just about that time, the pump track was put in, and I was able to do all that. I was able to learn how to do tight turns on that. So I was just so thankful. So I'm very happy about that. But more importantly, I was able to go to the pump track with my grandkids. So it's just a really fun activity for the whole family. So again, it's just not for the young, it's for the whole family, for an entire lifelong skill. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. We have Matt Wetter up next. He's the president of Fat Track, long supporter of Family FreeRide and financial donor. So thank you, Matt. Go ahead.
Hello. Hey, thank you for having me tonight. Thanks for Garrett and for Mike for putting on the presentations. Really appreciated those. I think they're really informative. I'll reiterate everybody's support of the bike park, or almost everybody's support that's gone on so far of the bike park. I just think that it's something that we'd really need to look at in more through the lens of, these should be almost ubiquitous in this area where, in California, we've got year-round outdoor sports. We've got fantastic weather. It's a lifelong sport that we're really trying to support. It's, they should be on the exact same level as baseball fields, soccer fields, court sports, all those kinds of things. The cost per person is, comparable, if not less, to put in a bike park and to put in bike trails and natural surface trails. It's just basically a no-brainer to support lifelong activities like this that, kids get into right from the get-go. They keep them out of college or out of trouble as youth. And then from there, it's something that, as the last speaker just talked about, still doing it several years after she was in elementary school. And I just think that's exactly the kind of lifestyle that we want to support in this area and, all around California. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ian, are we done with public comment, at least as you're aware?
Yes, that's everybody that I have.
Okay. All right. So back to the board report and the recommendation. Would somebody like to tee something up?
I'd like to kind of test a motion that we direct staff to continue to keep the options open on a bike park, examining the feasibility, the funding, the phasing, pending a decision on the softball fields, and that investigation also address potential parking options.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Any further discussion among board members?
Good with that.
Call for the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So I want to thank you. So Mike, you understand this, what we talked about before is a report back and maybe 120 days, something like that.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that the budgetary piece was on that motion as well.
Yes, that's the funding. And
okay, thank you.
So physical feasibility and fiscal feasibility.
Okay. Correct.
Okay. I want to thank staff for working with Garrett, and Garrett for working with staff. I know this has not been a marriage made in heaven, but you know what? We're moving forward, and appreciate the effort of everybody. And hopefully, come 6 to 9 months from now, in addition to having totally refurbished park downtown, we'll have maybe some new amenities out at Phoenix Field. So moving on.